Hi, I'm Matt Chenard with Delta Waterfowl, here with John Devaney to talk about the recent release of the Waterfowl Population Status Report that highlights the duck numbers in May ponds across the traditional survey area in the United States and Canada. John will first give us an update on how the May ponds are looking.
You know, it's an interesting year. We've got a real tale of two countries going on this year. We've got dry conditions up in prairie Canada, really wet conditions here in the U.S. prairies. Overall, May pond counts dropped down to under 5 million. That's the lowest pond count we've had here in 11 years, down to 4.990 May ponds. But if you look at it, it's really interesting. May ponds across the U.S. prairies are up 36% year over year, from last year to this year. 26% increase over the long-term average. So we're really wet in the Dakotas. That's the really good news. The pretty bad news is we're 22% below where we were last year in prairie Canada. Pond levels this year in prairie Canada were the lowest levels they've been since 2004. So we're at 2.9 million ponds in prairie Canada, down from 3.6 last year. So Matt, really wet here in the U.S. side of the prairies, quite dry in prairie Canada, especially in Saskatchewan.
Absolutely, and that kind of bears out with the duck population as well. In the eastern Dakotas, you see a lot of the ducks responded to those wet conditions. Up in Canada, we weren't so lucky. But on the positive note, we've got mallards up 2% from last year, which is a good thing. Gadwall were up as well. Widgeon pretty much stayed the same. And green-winged teal with a slight boost from last year. So that's good news for those species. A few of the other species were declined slightly. Probably most notable, for a decline would be redhead. And most of the diving duck species were in a decline from 2018. Overall, though, duck numbers in the traditional survey area were 10% over the long-term average, so it's not all doom and gloom, of course. The biggest negative, I guess, outside of the redhead, of course, is pintail, which are still well below their long-term average, 42% below their long average, in fact. Scaup as well are 28% below their long-term average. The positive thing, I guess, we take from that is that some of those ducks did settle where the May ponds were in the eastern Dakotas, and hopefully that will mean that there'll be some extra production from that area. John, what were the big surprises for you in terms of duck numbers for this year?
I guess I'm a little surprised that Scaup went down the way they did. Scaup have been doing well in the eastern Dakotas. Of anywhere, they've been doing well in the eastern Dakotas, and I just thought that, the population in the eastern Dakotas, I figured it'd benefit from the water we had. Water conditions in the western boreal where most of them breed. I guess I'm a little surprised by that, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I was hoping that maybe all the water in the eastern Dakotas would attract more ducks here. I was hoping to see more of a positive signal for blue wings, more of a positive signal for pintails maybe, and maybe redheads, some of those ducks that chase water a lot. But we had pretty crummy production last year, and we haven't had great production the last several years, so I guess I shouldn't be terribly surprised.
That was the big news for me, really, and we know that production from last year kind of drives that BPOP for this year, and last year the dry conditions pretty much stayed the same throughout the nesting season. We knew it wasn't great last year, and the numbers this year seem to reflect that. Yep. Thanks for watching Delta Waterfowl's update on the waterfowl population status. Stay tuned for our prospects for the fall flight.